Hi guys, and welcome back to SwitchUp. A very happy Easter from Glen and I, and remember to stick around to the end of the video where I'm going to cover two terrible Nintendo Switch games that you should avoid. I hope all of you are safe and well. Thanks to all of you who leave comments down below, we really do appreciate it. And with that said, let's jump into the list. First up then, I have been a little bit cheeky. I've looked at Animal Crossing and I've been playing a lot of it. And quite frankly, it's probably the best game that you can be playing right now in lockdown, just because it's so relaxing and it's so chilled out. And well, I found lots of places digitally in the US and UK where you can pay a little bit less for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post those down in the description as well as show you on the screen. So here are the cheapest places that I've found for you to pick up the game digitally, and they'll send you a digital code which you can then put into your regional eShop. Now obviously Animal Crossing is very unlikely to be in the eShop sale for a long time, but that wouldn't stop me getting a digital code from elsewhere and making it happen because it's just so much fun. My first title on the eShop sale is Astral Chain, and that's probably my pickup of the month. It's currently got a nice little discount, taking it around to about 30 quid, and it has excellent pedigree behind it. It's made by Platinum Games and it was published by Nintendo and comes from the likes of Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. And it's an action-adventure game where you play as part of a detective force called the Neuron Special Police Task Force. And the combat is really satisfying, very slick and quick, as you'd expect from the designers who made it. But what I thought was really cool, and so far I haven't played a huge amount of it, but so far it's very cool, is how you summon your familiar called the Legions, and they're literally tethered to your character. There are loads of different ones, and it's just a very stylish, very slick and cool game. Well worth picking up.
Sinking captured chimeras with human operators, we established control and made powerful allies. I'm referring, of course, to the Legions.
A big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is essentially an online learning community which offers thousands of inspiring classes for those looking to branch out and enhance their skills. The topics include graphic design, creative writing, animation, film and video, which I'm sure would appeal to a lot of people here on YouTube, and a whole host of others. I've been using it myself recently to brush up on an old hobby that long lay dormant. I used to love sketching and pencil drawing, but was always really apprehensive about taking the next step and adding colour to my drawings. Using Victo Nye's Colour Masterclass video on simple steps to create vivid art, I've begun to become more confident in attempting it and aware of the principles behind it. You can get all of this for less than $10 a month via an annual subscription, but also Skillshare have provided us with a link, which will be down in the description, to this video, entitling the first 500 people to use it to a 2-month free trial. It really is worth having a look at. Now, back to the list.
I think Steamworks Quest upset a few people because they wanted to go back to the Metroidvania style of old, but then they got a card game, come RPG, that didn't click with some of them. Now Glen really enjoyed this, and in his review he said as much. It's not the longest game ever, but the overall card shifting mechanic and the combat was, at least for him, a welcome change, and one that was executed well enough to be a very enjoyable title in its own right. This one's currently got a nice juicy discount, and the sale I believe goes on till mid-April. I'm going to stick Breath of the Wild in here just because it rarely goes on sale. I think it's been on sale maybe one other time, and it's generally only in these big sales. And as we have the big Easter sale, they have reduced the price of that one. Now yes, it's Nintendo, you're not going to get a 50, 60, 70% discount, but you're going to get a sizable chunk, and it's a game that you can spend hundreds of hours enjoying. If you've been living under a rock, then obviously you take the role of Link but this time around it's a much more survivalist style Zelda, where you're released into the wild, your weapons break, which is a little bit irritating, and you can use anything from sticks to axes and swords. You can chop down trees and use them as rafts. There's a very cool mechanic where you get balloons you can attach to items to make them float. It's just a real physics playground, and it's a great deal of fun. Really an essential title if you've got a Nintendo Switch. Next up is the subscriber choice for this month, and it's Broforce. Many of you have said many times down in the comments, my goodness, Broforce is an incredible game and it's reduced so much. Now, it is a tongue-in-cheek parody of almost every 90s action film ever, but there's also co-op play here. It's very fast-paced. I know Glen didn't rate this one quite as highly as some of our subscribers, but from what you guys have said to us and the recommendation that keeps coming back, I'm willing to stick it on the list as our subscriber pick of the month. I don't think at this price you're going to regret the purchase, to be honest. Then we're on to Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which I know for a fact Glen absolutely loves. This is a fantastic game. It took many of the familiar tropes that we were used to from previous titles in the series and adds in quite a few new little tweaks. There are different styles of level, with the ability to surf through stages added in as well. The platforming is top tier, and my favourite element is the ability to play couch co-op with a friend or your 4-year-old son who just wants to jump off of cliffs. Yeah, very good indeed, enjoyable game and worth a pickup if you're looking for something in this genre. Katana Zero is probably one of my top 5 games on the Nintendo Switch. It's an excellent action game that uses a slowdown mechanic similar to that we've seen in other titles, but it does it brilliantly. You can knock back the bullets using your katana, roll through enemy damage and then stab them in the back, and each level is split up into multiple stages that almost act as like a dance of death or something. Once you complete the area, then it rewinds and shows you a video recording of what's just happened in normal speed, and it looks incredible. Now, the story sees you play as an assassin is very much similar to the title that, well, the film Leon, if you've seen that. I can't wait for the sequel or at least some kind of DLC to drop for this one. It's a great title. In many ways, my Friend Pedro is quite similar to Katana Zero. You have a slowdown mechanic, you'll be dodging bullets, but this time around it's a 2.5D action title that takes place from left to right. There's a speed running mechanic in here as well, and you can roll past bullets. You can split your pistols, so you use both analog sticks to independently control your pistols, and it just feels so good. Performance is excellent from start to finish. There's numerous different weapons. The story is absolutely insane, and it has a talking banana. Yeah, incredible game, very fun, and despite the simplistic systems, there's actually a surprisingly deep level of control you have over your character. I really enjoy this one. I reviewed Call of Juarez Gunslinger quite recently. It was about a month or two ago before the world went crazy, and it was a very good port. Has gyro aiming. The visuals obviously show their age a touch, but they did a good job with those. There's god rays in there. Generally textures, although slightly dated, look good, and performance is slick. If you're looking for a first-person shooter and you want one with loads of blood and, well, the Wild West, this might be your one to check out. It's a really interesting narrative here as well, where the lead protagonist is perhaps telling a few untruths as he retells the story that you then play through. It wasn't perfect by any means. I would have liked some perhaps better cover mechanics, but it's certainly a game I don't think you'd regret purchasing. It's very fun, good boss fights, and a decent length. If you're not entirely sure, then go and check out our full review. Red Faction Guerilla Remastered, it was actually the first time I'd played it was on the Nintendo Switch, so that was amazing. This is a great game. I reckon this is one of the most underrated action open world titles from the last generation. It's great. It's really very good. You play as Alec Mason, a mining engineer who's arrived on Mars, and yeah, things go wrong pretty quickly. Everything about the action is over the top, but it delivers by actually looking half decent. There is a multiplayer here as well, PvP multiplayer, which is semi-decent, but again, you're going to struggle to find games online. Maybe with the sale, there'll be a few more people about. The core campaign's quite long. There's tons to do on the free roaming map. This is a title that deserves a sequel. It would be great to have another version of this with some updated quest lines. Really worth checking out. And again, we have a full review if you want to go and look at that. Now on to probably my favourite part of our weekly sales, and that is the games to avoid. And I'm going to start off with that well-known title, Race with Ryan. Yes indeed, Ryan's parents thought it would be a fantastic idea to create a Mario game based on their son. This is just pure and utter garbage. And it's a cash-in, it's a rip-off of Mario. Look, if you've got 4 or 5 year olds, yes, they're going to enjoy it. But these are the same 4 or 5 year olds that put worms in their mouths, that lick snails, and for my own kids, can have an afternoon of entertainment playing with a cardboard box. I think we should go with the parents' judgment on this one. Don't race with Ryan. Don't do it. Nope. Not unless it's a race to run away from purchasing this game. No, thank you very much. Then there's Strike Force War on Terror. Now, when I was a kid, I used to play a game called Desert Strike. It was amazing. And there was another one called Desert Siege, not to be mistaken for the helicopter game of the same name, but you played basically, it looked exactly like this game. And in the late 90s, you know, that was awesome. It looked incredible, but it does not cut the mustard anymore, my friends. And this is just garbage. Performance is janky, controls are terrible. Stay away. Do not strike this desert. No thank you. Play Warface instead. It's free, and while not the best port ever, it does a much better job in every department. A big thanks to all of you who watch the channel. We do hope you enjoy it. We try our best to make it as entertaining as possible, and we are in the process of creating some new ideas for the channel as well. Thanks to the new patrons. I don't know how people are still signing up to be patrons in this crazy time. That is completely unnecessary, but we thank you for it anyway, because it does support us. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys. See ya!